Hey Phil, it's your boy Justin. I love what you're doing with the Positive Philter and everything. I love to get on an episode sometime, but in the meantime, you have to give the listeners some more background into Holbrook's class and what a class it was. That class was special to me because it taught me about my past, how to be successful in the present and future as a black male. I also can't forget the valuable friendships that were made and built stronger during our time in that class. Either way, I look forward to joining an episode of Positive Philter soon. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Welcome to Positive Philter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career with a little self-help around the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope that what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place.
Listeners of Positive Philter, we're back again with another episode. It's been a while, a couple episodes in between, but I finally got my co-host back on the airwaves.
Hey, I'm back. Still in white.
Hey. What's the update? Hillard, how many black people you see today?
Today, I saw one. Hold on.
I thought you were going to count.
I think that's about it. I saw one, and he had his mixed
Where
kids
was
with
it?
him.
Where was he
I
at?
was leaving the gym. I was leaving the YMCA. I was leaving the gym.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
saw.
Black man getting fit.
And I hit him with the head nod. He hit me with the head nod back. You know.
All right.
We see each other. It's always love.
I do that anyway. I do that all the time. Like
I know, but it's so rare out here. It's so rare out here. So, you just, It's almost like, oh, man, I ran into you today. Surprise. Because you're not expecting it.
Well,
At least I'm not. I'm never expecting it.
Well, I think that will lead into our perfect topic for this session. So, a while ago about black men and seeing people of the same, a while ago we discussed very, very early on in one of our earliest episodes, I believe that was episode 2, the friendship episode, where our friendship really originated was from Holbrook's class. And so I had a couple of friends, listeners of the podcast say, we diverged into friendship on that episode, but they wanted a little bit more in-depth information or a little bit more background into that class because that class was so powerful for us. So I decided to call this episode or name this episode the Brotherhood podcast because I believe that class created not only a lifetime friends, but it did exhibit for me a resemblance of brotherhood, camaraderie, seeing people, like-minded people, black males, young black males that we were in that 10th grade class, and how that had a lifetime effect on us. So we're kind of, this episode is kind of go back to that friendship episode, and we're going to give a little bit in-depth breakdown of that class. So between that window, I had the opportunity to actually have dinner with Mark Holbrook, who's doing really well in the school system. And I don't want to put out his full government, what he's doing, but he is a high official in the county. And so he's kind of done great things, became a principal, and, he's gone on even in his own career since that class has done great things. So it was kind of crazy to have dinner with him. He did say he was quite proud of all of us. I gave him an update on all of us. And I just got an opportunity to ask him questions about that class. And I guess obviously you can ask me questions too, because, for the listeners, ask me questions. What do you think are some things you want to know about that class, and I can give you some background.
Did he share, in depth, how he selected the guys that he selected for the class?
Yes. Yes, and he actually did that because I remember. Do you remember in 10th grade, or going into 10th grade during two-a-days, he was walking around with an actual piece of paper, like it was like a roster, and he was asking us, like he was literally registering us for that class. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember him asking me. He was like, "Hey, you want to be in this class?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
Like I didn't.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
he gave me like a very small overview, and I think like we had like a break or something in practice. And he just asked me, like, "Do you want to be in this class?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
He literally, what he did is he had this idea way before that summer. And he told me he had like a grant to do like a science camp or science thing, right? And he had, from that grant that he asked for this special initiative, he had leftover money. So he went to Miss Crocker, the principal at that time, and asked, he was like, "Yo, I like to do this class." So he had permission from Miss Crocker to do this class. And he said, "Yo, I'd like to do this class. It's going to be 7 period. I just want it to be rising, I think freshmen and sophomore. Freshmen and sophomores, right? I want freshmen and sophomores to be in this class because I feel like at that time they're starting off high school. They're not on their way out. I can infuse the skills of how to be successful in high school early. Because by the time you're a senior, it's kind of late, And
right.
Miss Crocker was on board, and he literally said he got the block of period for 7 period. That means it was going to be every day. That's how he worked. Every day. And he said specifically, I don't know what it was. He knew after he got permission from Miss Crocker, watching us in football and athletes, and then certain students that he had, quote unquote, he said had observed, because he observed people from teaching biology and stuff
Right.
he had Nigel. I believe he had, I'm not sure he had Nigel, but he had some students in that class previously, for a biology class. So he said he just started that night thinking of students that he could fill a roster with. So we were hand selected, and he identified each of us. He said there was something about each of us, me, you, Charles. He was like, I could tell you guys were doing something. Y'all weren't complete knuckleheads. And I felt like I could mold you. Like he said use the word mold you, and it wasn't like a waste of time, but he said he saw potential. So he didn't just randomly fill up a class. He had a roster that he wanted. And that's why he went directly to us to ask for our student ID number.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Which is really interesting,
Why was that interesting? No, so why was that interesting? So why was that interesting?
From the guys that are we still that talk and stuff like that, and we still know, it kind of just turned out like that. We ain't turned into complete knuckleheads. I don't think anybody really did. I think majority of guys anyway, kind of did their thing, from that class, and and is still grinding and kind of pushing forward and progressing. And so to see that so early though, because sometimes it's hard to see that, and for him to kind of to be able to pick the young men that he picked, and the group that he picked, because there was a couple of us that were ninth graders, and some of the ninth graders kind of sat at the table at different tables, and 10th graders, we sat at a couple different tables, and we had 1 or 2 tables that had ninth graders and 10th graders sitting at. But I mean, it was just when it was time though to do a whole class kind of activity, it's we all kind of came together and kind of blended and kind of just bonded off with each other. You know what I mean? So the dynamics in the class worked out great, and it wasn't nobody wasn't willing to participate. You know what I mean? It's usually you might have 5 or 6 kids. It's man, I ain't doing that. That's stupid. You know what I mean? Everybody in that class wanted to participate, and everybody did. You know what I'm saying? From what I remember, and we all did.
Well, we did. We all participated. I think it was because there was twofold to that. One, Holbrook was scary, funny scary. I remember when he flipped out. It was it was halfway like funny and halfway scary. Like you knew it was funny, but you had to laugh in your mind because he was scary. So that's one. And then two, it's what it is. It's positive peer pressure. What I believe is positive peer pressure. Like if you were that one guy that didn't want to participate in stuff in a positive activity, you look stupid. Like for what? Like we would get on each other. And I think he recognized that dynamic from football. Like if you were playing football and one guy was like, yo, I don't want to do up downs no more. I quit. Well, then the other teammates are going to get on him for quitting on the whole team. And probably possibly making a punishment worse for the whole team. And I don't think really Holbrook made us do push-ups and stuff like that. And, you know, he made us like, I remember he made us like bring our planner and you had to like have your planner signed by him.
Yeah.
And I remember after a while, if you forgot your planner, everyone would clown you. It was like, you didn't have to like tell us no more.
I remember that. Yeah, yo. Like, I just remember that when you said that, because we would clown each other. You know, and you would have to do push-ups. Like, for forgetting it. And then you had to go to your locker and get it, if it was in your locker.
Yeah. Exactly. You know? And then, and he was like, yo, how did you forget that?
Yeah. And then it just turned into, hey, you better not forget your planner. You better go grab it real quick. And then you couldn't be late for class, too. You know, because that was more push-ups. Like, it was like all these things. You know what I'm saying? So
but
you see Bama sprinting full speed down the hallway. Like, didn't care. Had to make sure to get to class. No. Like, they didn't care who they knocked over in the hallway. But it was like, yo, I'm getting to class. So, yeah, like, you know, that's just crazy. But, like, it's still, like, it could have backfired. You know what I mean? And then, like, it's just crazy, like, how it didn't. Yeah, because there was a lot of personality in that classroom, man. Like, as far as the guys, man, like, a lot of different personalities. And it could have just clashed, but it didn't. Like, it just flowed so easily. You know what I mean? And
well,
so
I think, half of it's luck. You know, it's not like he's like, you know, Nicodemus or nothing. Like he predicted the future and he knew it was going to work. He definitely took a gamble, but at the same time, he had observed us. You know, I think, you know, regardless of, I'm going back to sports, but he knew that we played sports together, so he knew there was already a baseline of camaraderie in some form or fashion. And then he had, like I said, some of the guys in a previous class, the ones that weren't playing sports, they had them in a previous class where he knew that they had already had a rapport with him. So he already had like two advantages. He had a rapport with him, and he had people that already had like a baseline friendship or camaraderie. So, I mean, I think that's what it was. And he knew he was scared. He knew he was going to lay down the law. He said he also knew that I could cheer you guys out and you would not take it like, you would like listen to me, but like you wouldn't be like, you know, soft about it. Like you'd probably, like most of y'all would laugh.
And we would just, and we would respond. Like, you know what I mean? Like we going to respond.
And he said it because he knew the area too. That's another thing. Like he went to Mount Vernon. So he was like, he used to always say, you cats. Remember, it's like, you cats. He's like, you cats are no different than the guys I went to high school with. It's just the fact that now I'm in that teacher role. But he's like, I was you guys. So that's another thing that he had too. Like he could see himself in us and he could give us advice on how to be good students that he would give himself if he was a kid. So I think, in general, when you think of that mold, I think, you know, for the concept of the class or these, you know, he was ahead of his time with these, like, you know, all these academies and all. You see all these like charter schools and stuff. It's like I think a lot of these people that develop these programs for young males see themselves in those young males, and I think you're right. They collectively see a group of people that like maybe already have a baseline of what connects them. Whether that's being in a neighborhood, they all share the same neighborhood, or they're all, you know, from Mount Vernon, they're all from Mount Vernon area. We were all black males. I don't know, there was, you know, underlining base, like there was difference. Like you're right, there was like me, like the nerdy one, and it was like the cooler kids and all that. But there was a baseline there where I think he just knew that we would all vibe. And I don't know, maybe I think he just observed, and before he set up this group, he knew that those observations were like pretty much, good ones that he established and that were going to be good.
Right.
I don't know. It's just like he made it sound like it was so simplistic, but I was like, yo, Holbrook, I'm telling you right now, the positive peer pressure went beyond that class. Like, did you predict? I asked him this too. I said, did you predict that after 10th grade, we would stay together in 11th grade, and 12th grade, and then visit each other in colleges, and go to each other's weddings and all that stuff? He's like, honestly, I thought that year was very special, but I didn't foresee anything past high school with you guys. He's like, I just thought that I would get you to the door of graduating high school and you go about your lives. I did not anticipate, he said, I didn't anticipate this. And he's like, it makes me very happy,
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I think when if there's people out there that are thinking about starting, leadership programs or young male programs, I don't know. I think this, don't have the expectation that everyone that goes through a class together is going to become brothers or anything like that. But I think that unique experience they'll always share, regardless of where they go in the world.
Right.
We can always go back to that Holbrook class.
Right. And it impacts you too. You know what I mean? Because not everybody from that class stayed in touch, and not everybody is like super close and talk, but I'm sure everybody still is impacted, like the impact is still there, like it followed me. Like, I'm still impacted to this day by it. We talking about it right now. So obviously, like, it was a huge thing. Something that happened when I was, 15, 16, and I'm 32 now. And, and here it is, still impacting me. And I'm sure it's something that I'm going to carry on. And, like you said, we can reference it with our kids, and just kind of let them know. And even with our kids, like, there's been times when I use that, and when I'm talking to, just young men here, or the 1 or 2 young black kids that we have, and I'm talking to them, and I just like, there's a couple out here. So, and then when I'm talking to them, I reference it, and just kind of let them know, and let them know, like, man, there was times I was a knucklehead too. Like, you think you was bad, man? I'll share some stories. Man, I was like, you ain't had no temper. You think you had a temper, man? Let me tell you about my temper, and and stuff like that. But then I would reference the class and the impact that this teacher had on me, and it's like, and just getting them to like understand that, like try to work on changing that mindset, man. So yeah, man. Shout out to Holbrook, man. I appreciate that class. That class was amazing.
Well, he said a funny thing too. He's like, I said, Holbrook, did you realize that maybe a majority of the class went into education? And he was like, damn, man, I wish I would have became CEOs and got some money. But this man was like, because think about it. I'm in higher ed. You're a school counselor. Jay works with kids with special needs in a school system. Ernest Asante, I kept up, is a PE teacher. Brandon Bailey's a PE teacher. Flordell is a high school football coach.
All right.
Any more? There's sure more. I'm just naming the people off the top of my head. All these educators. And he was like, dang, man, I was trying to influence you guys. And I was like, Holbrook, you set the model of a black male that's educating people. I was like, it was a leadership class, but it wasn't no CEO class. He was like, man, I was trying to get y'all to get the money. I was like, well, we can curse you for that with our low-paying education jobs.
I know you got it.
Like you did, you set a model, but you modeled education.
Exactly. Like, you ain't cheap to chase that bread. But I think another crazy thing, though, Phil. What it did too, it just shows us, it gave us a model and an example as young black men of something other than like sports and entertainment.
Yes, that's what he wanted too. That's what he wanted too. That's what he.
Yeah, because you got Kevin. Kevin's the chef. Shout out to Kevin. You know what I mean? Like,
shout
you got all these guys. Yeah, they doing other stuff, man. And we ain't chasing no rap dreams, rap careers. And if you are, ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, do you? Whatever. Like, I really do. You know, but like that's not an end all be all for us. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, look, we can be other things than what they show us on TV. You know, being just a sports star or entertainer. Like, we don't have to be just that. Like, you know, it shows us that there's more to it. And that's why I think, a lot of our communities just need more of that. You know, to where the kids understand, like, man, you can be successful doing other things too. You know?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I think, like, you're joking, like, not making money, but what was he, an educator? And I think what he set the foundation of someone that gave back, and then honestly, I guess some form, fashion, we all gravitated toward education of a sense of altruism. You know, altruism. Like you get a sense of satisfaction when you help someone else, and I think that's probably why we more gravitated toward helping roles rather than just make money roles. Because I mean, I think at the end of the day too, I think that's what, you know, me, you, and all these guys, I think we definitely, I think we try to like help other people. And I think that makes us feel good when we help other people. And I think that's the mold. I think that's the mold that Holbrook set for us because he helped us as an educator. And I think,
but
for me particularly, having a lot of money, I mean, it'd be nice to have a lot of money, but I think I feel the tangible rewards of helping someone in education because I see them. Like, for instance, when I used to work in career counseling and I see a kid that I worked with on their resume and interview skills actually land a job, like, I tangibly saw that I did something better and helped someone else. And that makes me feel good about myself. And so
you know what?
That's what Holbrook modeled for me.
And I agree with you, 100%. But I'm also going to say that, yeah, I'm chasing this bread, but I'm going to chase it in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to make it through my career, which is school counseling. Like, man, I can go ahead and, like, you know, stack some bread or take some savings and put that into, you know, mutual funds, into stocks, and try to flip it that way and make money that way, you know, and that's part of just the education. And that's how I learn it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you have your career over here, and my career, I love it. It's gratifying. You know, like, there's times where, you know, we have Counselor Appreciation Week, right? And kids write letters. And, you know, sometimes I get it from kids that, it's just, they're hard and they're a struggle to work with. And then some of the letters, the personal letters they give me, man, like, it touches me. Like, it's crazy. Like, I didn't even know I was impacting them in that way until they sit down and they write this letter. And you know what I mean? Like, it's really heartfelt. And I'm like, man, that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So, like, it's gratifying. And it does feel better than money. You know? But at the same time, I want that money too. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit here and be like, oh, no, I'm chasing that money too. But I'm just gonna chase it in a different way. It don't have to be like through my career necessarily. You know? I could just stack money and then invest it and flip it and go that route.
Right.
You know?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So.
That makes sense. You know, and you know, I totally agree with that. And I think the letters and stuff like that, I think that, you know, bringing it back to Holbrook's class is the same way he got. Like, I don't think he realized that y'all either, you know, until we write him emails or sent him correspondence. I don't think he realized that. And I think that's the role that his class had on us. I don't think he realized the impact on it. And, you know, bringing forward to Brotherhood, I mean, he definitely geared the class toward us as black males. He did not dance around it and just say, this is just a class for guys. He said, this is for you, like young black males at Mount Vernon. And he was like, he would always, we learned the countries of Africa. You know, I remember we took a trip to UVA and he was like, I'd like to get one of you guys to go to UVA. I don't think anyone did, but still, like, he took us to colleges, and he was definitely specifically saying an effort where I think he was giving back to the school that he went to. He went to Mount Vernon, and I think he was geared toward, I think he believed, telling me too that he remembers all the people that he used to chop it up with, like guys that went to Mount Vernon with him that like ended up in jail or murdered someone. He's like, I knew a guy from my high school that was cool as hell, but he murdered someone, sold him drugs. Like, and I think it was his way of having control over the situation. That I can go back to my school and have a tangible outcome and change, you know, or have an effect on some young males that were like the guys I went to high school with. I'm gonna give it a shot. And I think for him, it was like, I think it was for him a healing thing, not a healing like he was wounded or anything, but I feel like for him, he was getting a lot out of it too. You know, he was getting the opportunity out of the class of correcting things that he saw around him. And when he had the power to correct them, he was going to at least put an effort. Because obviously, as we know, that class only lasted 1 year before they, like, you know, kind of shut it down a little bit. But in that 1 year, he made a big impact. And, you know, I really think it.
Did he share why they shut it down? Did he share that with you?
No.
Okay.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
You know, and you know, I didn't prod. But obviously, he transitioned on, and you know, moved from a teacher to a principal. So I guess it just kind of it wasn't him. It was you know, not going to happen.
Right.
And
I mean, just curious, you know, because I mean, I have my own.
I mean, but funny thing is though, whether it happened or not, it came back at full force. They had a male leadership class like a couple of years ago at Mount Vernon.
Okay. See? That's
nice. And the school counselors had. So, you know, just because, you know, obviously sometimes things take a while to come back. And I think the seeds that were planted were there. So it came back because they saw the positive outcomes. I mean, there's studies on it. This sounds, you know, when we think of brotherhood and positive male influence on each other, it's like not rocket science. You know, if you put a group of people together, group mentality, but with the mindset that you reward positive behavior and you build up like a little bit camaraderie and also
and everyone holds everyone accountable.
Exactly, and also that you reward academics as if it is sports. You know, like for getting good grades, like that's something to look like. The likelihood that people are going to do well based off feeding off each other is not rocket science. You know, like there's really I bet you did a test and did that same class 100 times. You did that same class 100 times. I'm pretty sure the average GPA of all the kids throughout the 100 times will always increase. Whether it increased by a lot or not, that could be a variable. I mean, you know, depending on the kid. But at the end of the day, everyone's GPA would probably increase because of that influence and that's just that mindset. You know, if buy-in, if everyone has buy-in. And so, you know, I think that while I said Holbrook, you know, was very special, that class is very, very special, I think you just tapped into something that, you know, it's common sense. You know, that's why he kind of diminishes it. He was like, yeah, I just had extra money from the grant. I had kids I wanted to put together because he knew, I mean, studies have shown over and over and over again how it's successful. He's like, I knew it'd be good. I knew that y'all would do well for that year. Like he really didn't have any fears. He's like, I knew, like, now whether we did like, you know, straight from, and no one had D's, but everyone got 4.0s. Like that's not realistic, but he knew that everyone's grades would increase because he was sure of that. He was sure of that philosophy and that theory. And that theory
Didn't we have to keep like above like a C+ average or something like that?
I'm pretty sure we had planners. There was somewhere incentives about planners and academic, you know, keeping each other accountable and academic and showing up to classes on time. And I think he even asked other teachers about us, like how we went in other classes. So we had And then we had guest speakers and like, you know, it
shout out
was
to
just
Coach Hill. Shout out to Coach Hill. Like, hands down, man. Yo. All right, so for the listeners, Coach Hill, he was the varsity basketball coach during that time, and he came and he spoke and basically just told us his life story, like, you know, how he got to where he got to. But man, he's the boys basketball, varsity basketball coach. And that's probably still, man, to this day, like hands down, one of the best, funniest, and like most engaging presentation I ever sat in on. Like,
yeah, it was funny.
Like, man, it was phenomenal, man. Like, till this day, like, it was great. Like, to me, that was my best moment of the class. Like, Coach Hill coming and just sharing like his life story and just the way he was, man. And it was powerful too. Like, you know, there's parts that was hilarious, man. Like, laughing. But then there was parts that was so like that was so real, and you know,
raw.
it was definitely so raw. Yeah. And it was, I mean, you know, and it just, yeah, that was a great presentation, man. I love it. I love it. So I'm always going to remember that one, you know.
Yeah. I don't remember any other guest speakers. I don't remember. I just remember Coach Hill too, honestly. And he did follow up about Ben Carson.
What did he say about Ben Carson, man?
First of all, he said, again, I can't predict the future. He said at that moment when we were reading the book, he said that dude was a great story, a guy that was poor in Chicago that became one of the top neurosurgeons in the world. So that why not share that junk? And then I said, what? And he said, what about now? He said, yeah, he's lunching. I wouldn't do that now.
Hey, man. See, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, reading that book, man. And I'll tell people still to this day. So, listeners, if you want to read that book, the book Gifted Hands by Ben Carson is the autobiography about his life and him coming up, and it's great. Like, it's inspirational. Like, it inspired me, you know. But I think that's what makes me even more upset because of the inspiration that I got from that book, especially at a time in my life where I didn't really like reading. You know what I mean? I just didn't like it. Like, it wasn't something I wanted to do. You know, I'd rather sit around and play video games or just chop it up and kick it with my boys or whatever, right? But like, I really enjoyed that book. And then to like see him, you know, basically like come from where he came from and then start to do all this stuff that he's doing now, man, and talking the way he's talking. I'm like, yo, this dude is tripping. Like, he's really tripping.
But here's the positive spin on that too. Take from it what it was. I mean, that book and what it did for you doesn't change.
No, it doesn't.
Based on what he, like think about I mean, now, yes, we connect his literature to him as a person, but in that, you can't take away what he did for you in the past. At that moment, when you read that book, it was, so what I'm honestly saying is, you could be disappointed in that person, but it doesn't take away from how good that book was for us at that time in that class, you know? And that's what Holbrook said. Like, the dude was tripping back, you know, he's tripping now, but you can't take away what he was for you at that moment, you know, or what it helped you get through in that moment, you know? I mean, I mean, I can go on to entertain. We can talk about musicians and stuff where it's like their songs touch you in a moment and they're really inspirational music, and then they're tripping in their life. Does that diminish? I don't know. I mean, some people say, "Yo, I'll boycott their music." And then I'm like, I don't know. For me, I wouldn't boycott an artist. I don't know. I'm kind of confused about that because I'm definitely taken away from what that artist did for me in that moment, and it's almost like a dissonance or dissociation. Like I'm dissociating that person from their work, you know, like when honestly those things are ingrained. There's no answer to that. I mean, if you still want to read Gifted Hands and watch the corny movie with Cuba Gooding Jr., knock yourself out.
You know,
that movie's terrible.
The movie is bad, but the book is good. The book is a good read. The book is, and it's definitely inspirational. Yeah. So, but
that's what he said about that. He said, you know, as he said again, I can't predict when things happen, but he said for you and those guys in that class, all the things that I try to infuse in you, learning Africa, learning your history, taking you to college tours, having relatable guest speakers, it's what you needed at that moment. And he's like, I planned that out on purpose. I had an agenda for that. And, you know, honestly, you can't predict the outcome. You know, you lead people to the door and what they take from it is what he takes from it. Now, how far we went with his class was unexpected, but at least he presented that to us. And so, you know, it is what it is. Because for me, I'm not, you know, I only have a sister who I love very dearly, but, you know, there's nothing like the bonds of I would say having a brother. And I didn't have brothers, but like, I really feel like I have siblings. I feel like, well, you know, all you guys are my brothers. You obviously are like my blood brother, you know, like brother of another mother. But, you know, when you think of the word brother and it doesn't have to be blood. You know, a person doesn't have to be related to you by blood to be your brother. And like that class and the moment we shared in that class and then how we stayed in touch, I really feel like I have siblings. I have siblings that I could be like, you know, funny with or joke with, or, you know, we still have group texts. What's going on?
We can be real with each other, man. Like, that's what it is, you know? Like, I sent y'all a text on, you know, send a couple guys a text on Friday, and I was just like, man, I love y'all. You know, like, people don't, like, as far as men don't really say that to each other, but, you know, I was like, man, that's how I feel. I want to show my brother some love. I'm going to tell them I love them. Like, you know.
And then the very next moment we fry each other, you know?
Then we turn around. We turn around and fry each other. So it happens, you know? That's how I go, man. You know, but
and sports, and there's always, you know, when people say brotherhood, there's always different circumstances where people create brothers, you know, and I think with the commonality, brothers doesn't necessarily have to be blood. For people to be brothers, I think it's a like-minded mentality. We all share a somewhat similar mentality, or you know, we don't share ideals about everything exactly, but we have our view of the world is pretty similar in mentality and how we treat others, and, you know, just rules of engagement, and, you know, how you just, the commonality of being decent human beings. And then regardless of in addition to shared mentality, I think shared experience. That's what makes brothers to me.
Yeah.
That's what makes a brother. And, you know, obviously we share that experience of that class and that mindset of being driven and trying to do good with each other, congratulating each other on our successes, you know, supporting each other on our failures and telling each other to get back up, and try over again, and not being so judgmental. Now, obviously we're going to fry each other, and, you know, we say no judgment, but we also, you know, we're going to get on each other and keep each other accountable. So just because there's no judgment, doesn't mean in a group of brothers you can't keep it honest with each other. But at the end of the day, we celebrate each other's successes. We, you know, pick each other up with our failures, and we really are working toward a goal of being better people. And I think Holbrook knew that, and I think that's something he instilled. And that's an intangible part. That wasn't something he wrote in the syllabus. He did not say create a bond of brothers in this class, but inherently he knew by setting up that class that could have been an expected outcome.
Right.
So,
yeah.
You know,
and
so, I mean,
you know, just, like, I know we got to wrap up soon, but like before we do, but like his class, and to kind of tie it into when we talked about, like, you know, the friendship things, kind of went into like identity and things like that, you know, like, and having it being an all black male, you know, class, like, I don't think necessarily, like, you know, it's a gradual impact for me to where, like, you know, it just grew. Like, my identity, you know, it just grew as I became a man. And, you know, my appreciation for my culture and my pride for my culture just kind of grew. And that class definitely helped it to grow as I look back now, you know, and as I think about it, you know, and it definitely makes me, like, voice, you know, if somebody wants to talk to me, you know, about the current state of, you know, the U.S. and everything that's kind of going on, like, I have no problem sitting down and having a conversation with you about it, You know, you might not agree with what I say. I might not agree with what you say, you know, but I don't know if I would have did that, like, you know, in the past, because I probably would have got too heated, for one. And, you know, I wasn't ready necessarily to have those type of conversations with anybody and everybody. In this class, you know, as I'm thinking about it, it just kind of helped me to grow. You know, that steady uptrend, you know, that incline, you know, just progressing to be a better me, you know, so that impact is lasting, man, from something like this, something that, you know, happened 1 year, you know, an hour, you know, 7th period, you know, it's lasted me for so many more years, you know, and there's so many more years to come, you know, if I'm blessed to see, you know, many more years. And so, like, it's crazy, you know, and it's like, things like this, it's powerful, you know. Your podcast is powerful. You know, Holbrook's class is powerful. Like, these positive things, you know, you might think they're small that you do. Like, even if you're doing them within your community, you know, whatever you're doing, like, it's powerful. And so you got to keep doing it, even if you don't think anyone is getting anything out of it, or you don't think, you know, anyone is seeing what you're doing. You keep doing it because you have it just creates the opportunity for you to impact somebody, even if it's yourself. You know, you're just becoming a better you. So, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, you know. So, yeah, man, again, man, like, you know, again, shout out to Holbrook, you know, for this class.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to you for this podcast, you know. Like, these things, man, it just helps to build. And, you know, small things, big things, it doesn't matter. You just got to keep, you know, pressing forward.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good ending point, because I was about to say, yeah, I think my last ending point before this podcast is that, you know, brothers, like I said, brotherhoods, shared experiences, you never know where it's going to go. If you have a group of friends similar, just keep each other accountable, keep those ideals of brotherhood together, keep supporting each other. And if you're thinking of doing something positive, whether, like you said, it's a podcast or a class or a workshop that you want to develop, like, keep doing it. And, you know, do it for two things. Do it for yourself, obviously, because you feel like, you know, if it's something you're going to put your energy into, you want to enjoy the process and do it for yourself, but also do it with the mindset that you may not, like you said, tangibly see someone reap the benefits of your efforts right there in your face. You might never. It might be like Holbrook's class, where 5 years down the line, 10 years, these guys go to college and they come back to you. They come back and visit you, give you a hug and say, thank you so much. You changed my life. And you'll never know that until you see them. You know, and quite honestly, maybe even not trying to be a morbid, but in a sad sense, you know, maybe you'll never know. Maybe when you pass away and everyone's coming to your funeral and they say all these wonderful things about you. But know that even at the funeral aspect, or people coming to your funeral, you have opportunity to make an impact, and you have an opportunity to be a person of significance. And every day is that opportunity, and big or small, you know what I'm saying? Big or small, that opportunity is there. As I said, shout out to last week. I think we said about 20 shout outs, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to Holbrook. Shout out to you for calling in, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do this, you know, for supporting this podcast. Shout out all the listeners. Like, obviously, seriously, I know the sound quality is something that we're trying to work on, but I hope that if you bear with this podcast, regardless of the sound quality right now, that I hope that you get to take away the messages. And I hope that the message of this Positive Filter podcast, ideally, what I really want you to know is that if you listen to this podcast, I hope it really just inspires you to do something with yourself for one day or whatever. And so, you know, I apologize. I'm going to work on that, you know, working on the goals of getting better recording equipment. But thank you so much to the listeners. Thank you, Hillard. Thank you, Holbrook.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, everyone. This is really something good. I think it's going to be something good. And, you know, like I said, if you have any things that you want to talk about, like I said, one of our listeners suggested a follow-up about Holbrook's class. And we took that to heart, and we We talked about that in the class Brotherhood and whatnot. If you see anything or you hear a small aspect that we didn't get to touch upon in one of our other episodes, send me or Hillard a message, and maybe it can give us an idea for future content, because that's what it is. I mean, we're kind of making this up as we go along, right, Hill?
Right. Yeah. Just making it up as we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
As we go.
one thing that I'm kind of just thinking about just real quick, but what I want to do, like something I want to do, right now I'm kind of working through some stuff financially and stuff, and it's going to, like, my situation will get cleared up and all that in the next coming months or whatever. But what I want to do, man, like I want to support like certain businesses out there, like, people that are doing their things that we know, and some people that I don't know, but we probably, we went to school with and stuff. I don't know what you're doing. But if you're doing something positive, man, like, let me know, or, let Phil know, and he'll let me know, whatever. And, I want to support, Stephen Beach, the Good Vibes Only.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah,
man.
I got one.
I'm going to get a hat and some clothing from you to support you. Your boy, the curator. I've never met him, but I'm going to support you, stuff like that. Like, I want to support other people, because I go out and I'll buy, stuff, and I don't know them people, and I'm supporting them. Why not support the people that I know, or that, I know maybe by, like, 6 degrees of separation, things like that, So, if you got stuff like that, like, let us know. So not even just if you want, because not even just clothes, but I know some people that are writing books. Right.
You're writing a book.
Right.
If you write a book, if you got a YouTube, if you got a YouTube channel, if you got your own podcast, holler at us, man. We'll plug you.
Yeah.
Well, there's a community. Yeah. There's a community.
Right.
So I agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that. So
yeah,
I think that's a good way to end off too. So yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and get plugged, want or to collaborate or work together,
right.
Do a joint podcast or or something like that. Highlight me and Hillard too, because that's what this is about—a community of positivity, man. A community of growing together, a brotherhood of growing together, right? So
the Positive Philter.
Yeah.
Ha!
Hey! I just did a Tebow jump by myself. Hey!
Go ahead.
Shout out to Armand. Shout out. Hey. So thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah. You gotta stay blessed.
Stay blessed.
You have been listening to Positive Philter, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Positive Philter was edited by Ronald Young Jr., host of Time Well Spent podcast and creator of Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Special thanks to Hillard McMorris. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends. Spreading positivity is a movement. Thanks for listening.